Hi everybody. This might be a surprise, but I thought I'd do a couple of videos for today. Um, all right. So I just watched this movie last night, and the reason I didn't do the video last night is because it was after 11 p.m. So okay. And plus, I wanted to get all the characters and stuff straight in my head before I did a review. So, all right. This is a movie and it's considered a dramedy, which means there's some drama and some comedy in there. Now, when I was watching it, I watched it with a completely open mind because I had never heard of the movie or anything like that. And the reason I wanted to watch it was because it stars Meryl Streep and Jack Nicholson. And I've seen Meryl Streep in a lot of stuff, and I've seen Jack Nicholson in a few things, and they're both good actors, great actors. So I figured them as a pair would be awesome. I was right, but the plot of the movie is some it leaves something to be desired because you think you're in for a love story. Then you find out that you're not because okay. So the characters are, and this is based on a book, and it's very autobiographical, written by Nora Ephron. Now, Nora Ephron was a very famous writer, producer of many films, many in the genre of rom com, chick flick, that kind of stuff. Um, you know, When Harry Met Sally, um, uh, the other one, she's she's done a lot. Okay, she's really famous. I just can't think of like all the titles. If I hadn't have said that, I could give you a list. But now my brain is like, okay. Like You've Got Mail. She was involved in that too. So think of that genre, and that's what she was famous for. Okay. But I did not know she was a writer as far as books. Also. Okay. So the characters are Rachel Samstat and Mark Foreman. And Jack Nicholson's character doesn't believe he's fit for marriage. But I don't know. I guess he falls in love. Not real love, but just enough to want to live with somebody. And somehow he, you know, talks her into getting married. But I gotta say, and this was the opening scene of the movie. The opening scene of the movie was them meeting at someone else's wedding, and they had one date, and I guess he kissed her on the date, and I guess they fell in love really quick after that. Now, when it come to their wedding, a couple months later, she was very, very nervous to get married because apparently she had been married before, and she said, I don't want to get married again. And she was literally crying on the bed in her wedding gown on her wedding day. Her sister had to pull her up and tell her, you should get married. Or not that, but, you know, why don't you want to get married? He's a good man. And she was nervous. And so, if a friend of mine was that nervous about getting married, I would tell them just don't get married. But then again, if that happened, you wouldn't have a movie. So they get married, right? Okay. So they buy this house that's a fixer upper entirely, and he doesn't like, and it already starts. He doesn't like the way she handles the contractor. He wants her to be more assertive. She's trying to be nice yet assertive. And I don't know. Seems to me the only thing they really have in common is they like to be intimate with each other. And the reason I say that is because right after they got married, right after, um, found out she was pregnant. And, um, and at some point, they had a party, and apparently, okay, the story is he's political commentator or whatever. So he lives in Washington, D.C. So she moves from New York, and the character in the movie is a food critic. So she moves to Washington for his career. Okay. So then along the way, they meet another couple, the Seagulls, Julie and Arthur, played by the wonderful Stockard Channing and Richard Basler. Now, Richard Basler, I'm very familiar with because he played the uncle in My Girl Too. And Stockard Channing, I've seen everything, and she's wonderful. She's one of the few actresses or actors who can say a lot without saying a word. And that's a talent. Okay. And also, I like the fact that she always does, or her roles are smart characters, and she's an advocate for many things. I really admire her. Okay. So, uh, okay. So then she kind of knows, Rachel knows that her husband was a playboy, and playboy just means bachelor, ladies' man, whatever you want. Okay. And I guess that's what she was nervous about. If he could change his ways. Well, the answer is no, obviously, because um, he meets at a party or something a character named Thelma Rice. And also, there's a character named Betty with no last name, played by the wonderful Catherine O'Hara. Also, um, Betty's character is a gossip. That's her role. She's the one who tells you who's cheating on somebody, who just got divorced, who's doing all that, right? So, um, turns out that Rachel doesn't know that Mark is having an affair with the Thelma Rice, right? And she finds out because he kind of does something stupid, which is he uses credit cards to buy things for her, right? And he doesn't even hide the receipts. So there they are in a drawer, which was locked. But then she gets the key, unlocks it, and the receipts are right there. Not even hidden. So, okay. So then, of course, she finds that out, and she leaves them, and she goes back to New York to her father's house, and but she wants him to come back to her, which I will never understand. I mean, if I was in a relationship and it was going bad, it'd be something else. I'd like try to save it maybe. But if you cheat on me, that's it. Because once a cheater, always a cheater. Unless they have an epiphany moment where they just go, I'm never gonna cheat again. But that like hardly ever happens. Okay. So so then basically that's the movie because she gets pregnant 3 times and she finally finds out through a weird way because okay, now here's where the comedy element is a little bit. She gets robbed at a therapy session, and the thief takes her jewelry. But then she's able to get her jewelry back because they're able to ID the guy. So, but then the diamond is loose in her ring. So then she has to take it to a jeweler to have it reset so it doesn't fall out. Right. Okay. So while she's getting her band reset or whatever, he's telling her, "Oh, did you enjoy the necklace?" Thinking that her husband bought a necklace for her or made a down payment. The necklace is so expensive, he had to make a down payment on the necklace. And she says, "Necklace? What necklace?" So he doesn't know, the jeweler doesn't know that her husband is having an affair. He just thinks he's ruined a surprise. So then finally she says, apparently, I don't know. The jeweler had said, "I would buy your ring from you." So then she says, "How much do you want for the ring?" And that day, or pretty soon after, she sells the ring and she has enough money to go back to New York and restart her life again. That's the whole movie. Um, so yeah, all in all, it was a good, smart movie, but I wouldn't consider it a dramedy. I would consider it a drama because there was that one bit of comedy, but that was it. And as far as the acting, it was really good, but it was a mismatch because if you have a guy like that, you shouldn't have a woman who's willing to sacrifice her beliefs to be with a guy because, yeah. I mean, you know, when you're crying on your wedding day and not in a good way, maybe you shouldn't marry the guy. Just saying. But, yeah, so, all right. I guess